is up, guys? It's Jinxin here again with another dual weapon build. And this time I'll be sharing with you guys my dual spear build that I think is probably my main now, because spear is just way too cool for me. And as usual, I'm just doing this for fun, so I hope you guys don't bash me for it, because I'm making my own newbie-friendly parties on the board with minimal gear requirement, so it shouldn't be a problem for other people. The reason why I'm calling dual spear Drakania is that it kind of reminds me of the Hex blood spec on this Black Desert class, called Awakening Drakania. The gameplay is sort of similar, because her spear slash has also got these flame effects to it, except she doesn't really have any spear throw skills. She does have the leap attack though, like spear, so I think they're pretty similar overall. So for the spears that I use, I chose Heroic Spear and Shaikal Harpoon, because the Harpoon actually gives me tons of hit chance, as well as having the highest base damage out of all spears. Heroic Spear, on the other hand, is also a good choice because of the massive amount of range that it provides, as well as Dexterity, which is just what I need. I also chose the Dexterity as well as attack speed rune synergies for both of the weapons, so that it makes it easier to reach the 70 Dexterity bracket. Like my previous dual dagger build, I use the Shadow Harvester mask and gloves for the super high cooldown reduction, as well as the crit bonuses. Although I won't be going for the 4-set effect because Spear already gave me a ton of attack speed buffs. And on a side note, I also recommend you guys to prioritize getting the mana recovery traits, because you're probably going to run into some mana issues. Next up, I got Divine Justicar for the rest of my armor pieces because I really like Wisdom, as it gives me not only cooldown reduction but also mana recovery. And plus, Divine Justicar armor is pretty good because it also gives you more weaken chance, so it'll make it way easier to apply your ignite stacks, and since most of your weaken effects don't have 100% chance to apply anyway, I also finally got to buy Divine Justicar pants, and it's actually pretty good because it gives me enough dexterity to reach the 70 bracket, and it also got critical chance as well. I'm using the Templar Choker this time due to how mana hungry this weapon is, and plus it also gives me cooldown reduction, so I think it's the perfect choice for this kind of build. I also think that the weaken chance trait is actually pretty useful, so that you can hit your ignite stacks like 100% of the time. I would also get Dark Seraph Ring instead of Sapphire Ring for even more mana recovery, because I don't really need Perception on Spear. I also like Eldritch Ice Band because it gives me the most dexterity out of all rings, on top of having a lot of weaken chance, which is very important for the flame skills. I'm currently using Spectral Skull's Belt instead of Arcane Chain, just so that I can reach 70 dexterity because of how my other equipments are. But yeah, overall, I'm trying to stack over 1000 crit chance, because most of Spear active skills and passes requires crit damage to proc some effects. And as for the rune synergies, just make sure that you can reach 70 dexterity, 50 wisdom, and 30 strength so that you can get the cooldown reduction as well as health to survive mechanics. So here is the specialization setup that I use for pretty much everything, since Spear is actually insane at clearing mobs, and the single target damage is also not bad at all. The reason why I chose Culling Arc instead of Flaming Arc is so that it makes it way easier to stack the burst debuff to empower Explosive Fury even more. Although keep note that Ignite and Burst debuffs only stack if it's a critical hit, which is why it's very important to overstack crit chance on your gear. Although at least Spear does have this passive called Retaliatory Strike, which gives you a massive crit chance increase every third skill hit. Sentinel Bastion also got this huge shield buff specialization, which is also your most important skill for survivability. Usually I use Sentinel Bastion first so that I don't just die immediately, and then I use Bloodlust Aura so that I can heal while the barrier is taking damage for me. Keep in mind that when you're fighting dungeon bosses, you should save your Sentinel Bastion in case a mechanic comes up instead of using it as an offensive buff. First I use Bloodlust Aura for a bit of chip damage, and then Gale Rush for attack speed buff, Culling Arc to apply burst stacks. Then you hold down Explosive Fury Quickslot to spam it, Abyssal Cleave for the crit damage buff into Phoenix Barrage. And then after that, if you are at 9 or below 9 Ignite stacks, you can use Rising / twice. But if your Ignite stack procs and you lose all stacks after Phoenix Barrage, then you can spam Javelin Inferno instead. Also keep in mind that you should only use Phoenix Barrage if Abyssal Cleave is off cooldown. because you need it to stun non-boss targets for additional damage increase on top of it, giving bonus crit buffs for the next skill used,